In a small village, there lived a young couple, Amoni and Nia. They were deeply in love and had grown up together, dreaming of the day they would marry and start a family. When that day finally came, their union was celebrated with great joy, and the village rejoiced in their happiness. But as the years passed, the joy of their marriage was shadowed by a deep sorrow. Though Amoni and Nia longed for a child, Nia struggled to conceive. When she finally became pregnant, their hopes were high, but their joy was short-lived. The pregnancy ended in heartbreak when the child died before birth. This happened not once, but twice more, with Nia losing 3 children over the years. Each loss brought them to their knees, and they couldn't understand why this was happening to them. They sought the counsel of doctors, but no clear answers were found. Desperate and heartbroken, they turned to their faith, seeking guidance from a pastor known for his wisdom and connection to the divine. The pastor, a kind and gentle man, listened to their story with great compassion. He told them that sometimes, life's greatest challenges come to those with the strength to bear them. He advised them to remain steadfast in their faith and prayed with them, asking for a blessing upon their home. With renewed hope, Amoni and Nia left the pastor's house, holding onto the belief that their prayers would be answered. Months passed, and one day, Nia discovered she was pregnant again. This time, they were cautiously optimistic, their hearts filled with both hope and fear. They prayed daily, thanking the heavens for this gift and asking for protection over the unborn child. As the pregnancy progressed, Nia and Amoni allowed themselves to feel a quiet joy. They decorated a small room in their home, preparing for the arrival of their long-awaited child. As Nia neared the end of her pregnancy, she began to feel a strange, intense pain in her stomach. Fear gripped her heart, but Amoni, ever the pillar of strength, rushed her to the nearest hospital. There, the nurses quickly attended to her, guiding her through the difficult hours of labor. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, a cry filled the room. Their baby girl had arrived. But as they looked at their newborn daughter, they noticed something unusual: she had been born without legs. The room fell silent for a moment, the weight of this reality sinking in. Yet, as Amoni and Nia held their baby girl in their arms, they felt a wave of love so profound that it washed away their fears. This was their child, the one they had prayed for, the one who had survived when all others had not. She was perfect in their eyes, a miracle sent from the heavens. They named her Tumeni, which means hope, for that was what she had brought into their lives. When Nia and Amoni returned home with Tumeni, they were greeted by their parents and neighbors. The entire village had gathered to welcome the new family. Despite the challenges that lay ahead, there was only joy and celebration. Tumeni was a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even in the face of great loss, love and hope could triumph. And so, Amoni and Nia began their new journey as parents, embracing every moment with their precious daughter, grateful for the gift of life she represented. As the years passed, Tumeni grew into a bright and determined young girl. Her parents, Amoni and Nia, were devoted to giving her the best life possible. Though her disability presented challenges, their love and support made her resilient and strong. When Tumeni reached the age to begin school, Amoni and Nia decided to enroll her in a boarding school known for its academic excellence. They believed that despite her physical limitations, Tumeni had the potential to achieve great things. The day came for her to be admitted, and her father, Amoni, carefully placed her in a wheelchair. With Nia by his side, he pushed the wheelchair along the dusty road to the school, his heart swelling with pride and a touch of fear for what the future might hold for his daughter. At the boarding school, Tumeni's arrival sparked curiosity among the other children. Some had never seen a child in a wheelchair before, and their stares were hard to ignore. But Tumeni, with her bright smile and warm heart, hoped to make friends quickly. However, her optimism was soon met with harsh reality. In primary school, Tumeni found herself the target of cruel remarks and teasing from her classmates. They whispered behind her back, mocked her wheelchair, and excluded her from games. The teachers tried to intervene, but the damage was done. Tumeni often felt alone and different. Despite this, she focused on her studies, finding solace in books and learning. When Tumeni moved on to secondary school, she hoped things would be different. But the transition was even more difficult. The students were older, and their exclusionary behavior became more pronounced. They ignored her, leaving her isolated during breaks and group activities. The whispers turned into outright disdain, and Tumeni felt the weight of their hatred. Yet, she pressed on, determined not to let their cruelty define her. Through it all, Tumeni's parents remained her unwavering source of strength. They visited her often, encouraging her to stay focused on her goals. Nia would remind her of the struggles they had faced to bring her into this world, and Amoni would tell her that she was destined for greatness, no matter what others thought. As she approached her final year of secondary school, Tumeni poured all her energy into her studies. She knew that her future depended on her success in the upcoming exams. She stayed up late, studying by the dim light in her dorm room, her determination driving her forward. When the results were finally announced, Tumeni's hard work paid off. She had passed with flying colors, achieving some of the highest marks in her class. The news spread quickly, and even those who had once shunned her were forced to acknowledge her brilliance. Tumeni had not only survived but had thrived in an environment that had tried to break her spirit. With her exam results in hand, Tumeni was ready to take the next step in her journey, university. She knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but she was no stranger to adversity. With her parents' love and the strength she had built within herself, Tumeni was prepared to face whatever came next, determined to continue her journey of growth, learning, and self-discovery. Tumeni's journey continued as she stepped onto the campus of her university. It was a new world, filled with opportunities and challenges, but also with reminders of the loneliness she had felt in the past. As she navigated her classes and made new acquaintances, Tumeni couldn't help but notice the couples around her, students who seemed to effortlessly find love and companionship. It was something she longed for, yet it felt out of reach. As the months passed, Tumeni became increasingly discouraged. She focused on her studies, but the absence of a romantic relationship weighed heavily on her. Her wheelchair, which had always set her apart, now seemed like an insurmountable barrier to finding love. The whispers and stares from her classmates, the same ones who had shunned her in the past, continued to follow her. They only deepened her sense of isolation. 2 years went by, and just as Tumeni had begun to accept that perhaps love was not meant for her, she met someone who changed her life. His name was Keto, a fellow student who saw beyond her disability and was drawn to her strength, intelligence, and warmth. Their connection was instant, and for the first time in a long while, Tumeni felt truly happy. Keto became her source of encouragement, lifting her spirits whenever she felt down and reassuring her that she was worthy of love. However, their happiness was not without challenges. Despite Keto's affection for Tumeni, his friends disapproved of their relationship. They couldn't understand how he could be in love with someone like her, a woman who had faced so much hardship. Their cruel words and constant pressure began to take a toll on Keto, who, despite his feelings for Tumeni, started to feel the weight of their judgment. Eventually, the strain became too much for Keto to bear. One evening, with a heavy heart, he told Tumeni that he could no longer continue their relationship. The words hit Tumeni like a crushing blow, and she felt the familiar pain of rejection and loneliness return. Keto's friends had convinced him that a life with her would be too difficult, that he deserved someone better. As Keto walked away, Tumeni was left once again to face the world alone. The following months were some of the hardest of Tumeni's life. She threw herself into her studies, determined not to let the heartbreak define her. After finishing her final exams, Tumeni found herself back in the familiar embrace of her family. It was during this time that she met someone new, Kwame, a man who had heard of her remarkable story through mutual friends. Unlike others, Kwame admired Tumeni's resilience and saw her for the extraordinary woman she was. They spent time together, talking and getting to know one another, and soon, a deep bond formed between them. Kwame was different. He wasn't swayed by the opinions of others and didn't see Tumeni's disability as a limitation. Instead, he was inspired by her strength and determination. As their relationship blossomed, Kwame asked Tumeni's parents for their blessing to propose to her. They were overjoyed, seeing how happy Kwame made their daughter, and gladly gave their approval. The day of their engagement was filled with joy and celebration. Both families came together, and plans for the wedding began in earnest. Tumeni and Kwame's love was a testament to the power of faith, resilience, and the belief that true love sees beyond the surface. When the day of their wedding arrived, it was a colorful and joyous occasion. Friends, family, and even some of Tumeni's former classmates gathered to witness the union. The church was filled with flowers and music, and as Tumeni and Kwame exchanged their vows, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. They promised to love and cherish each other, in sickness and in health, for all the days of their lives. Amoni and Nia, Tumeni's parents, watched with tears of happiness as their daughter, who had faced so much adversity, found the love and happiness she deserved. The journey had been long and filled with hardships, but in that moment, surrounded by love and support, Tumeni knew that every step had been worth it. Her life was just beginning, and with Kwame by her side, she was ready to embrace whatever the future held.